tell you something. Someone has to be responsible when things get out of control. So I will be responsible. People think they know what I'm about. They think they know what motivates me. They don't know anything. I have a dream of a land of opportunity where people come to AEW and they can achieve anything they want. They can be the best version of themselves they can be. Wrestling gave me everything I have in the world. I want that for other people. 150 wrestlers on the roster with big fat paychecks and their junk in their hands. What are they supposed to do? Where are they supposed to go? Huh? I hate what AEW has become. Egos out of control.
Makes no sense.
Celebrating when there's no need to celebrate, and dancing and partying when there's no need for dancing and partying. I cannot stand it anymore.
Vlad, what doesn't make sense? The fact that Moxley hates what AEW has become, but he is he is basically what AEW is, basically.
Yeah. Well, first I don't understand what he even wants. What's his complaint? He's saying he wants guys to have a chance, but you just still, where are these 150 wrestlers supposed to? Well, there's way more than 150 wrestlers on AEW's roster, but that's neither here nor there. But like, what is his complaint? I'm not following. I have to be honest. I'm not following what he really wants. He wants to change something, but like, he's the reason that the company is in the shape that it's in.
I think he's saying that wrestlers are just happy and content with a contract and being on the roster when really we should try to strive for a good show. But anyways, let me finish his promo.
Sure.
Sorry.
Yes. Go ahead.
I will burn down the forest to plant a new one. I'm not sentimental. I will do what has to be done. We will do what has to be done. We can see a better future, and we will make it happen. If you want to come with us, you can come with us. If you don't, run while you can. Stand down while you can. Get out of the way! What's the need to know? For those in AEW, what's the need to know? What is the new paradigm? It's very simple. You work for me now.
All right. Welcome to the Malapert Smark Wrestling Podcast. You've caught us in the middle of reviewing an angle from AEW's Dynamite on the 16th, this past Wednesday. I got Vlad and Robert with me. Vlad, the wrestling expert. Robert, the frozen Asian. We'll talk more with Vlad and Robert. But for right now, we're starting the show hot. We're just going to go through this angle, all right? We're going to get some reviews from Vlad and Robert for what they thought of this. And let's go through it, all right? So we just heard Moxley's promo on... This was after Wrestle Dream. So I guess he just won the title. And they were taken off on on the back of a pickup truck, right? For people on audio who are just listening and maybe not have seen this, but this is an audio podcast on Apple Podcasts, so I have to describe some of it. But here's Jon Moxley, and here's Wheeler Yuta, who's also in the back of the pickup truck, and he had just was this after Wrestle Dream, or this was after Danielson? Yes, because Wheeler Yuta turned on Danielson after Wrestle Dream. So he's got this like, dramatic look on his face where he's not sure of himself, but he did join his old crew with the Blackpool Combat Club, which I don't really know if we should call them the Blackpool Combat Club. As you'll see in as I go through this angle, some people are calling them that. Like they're enemies right now, like Private Party have called them that. But on Collision that I watched, Tony Schiavone was unsure. He actually talked about that. He was like, should we call them the Blackpool Combat Club or what's going on here? So we don't really have definitive on that yet. But for right now, I've been calling them Moxley's Stable. And when we reviewed this angle on our YouTube posts, I called this angle The New Paradigm in AEW, Blackpool Combat Club, Run Roughshod. So, as we've seen in the NWO era, Vlad, which we grew up watching, running roughshod is a common term because that's basically what NWO did, right? And I always thought the word was roughshod with a T. but actually it's roughshod. I looked it up today. So roughshod, the meaning of the word roughshod means brutal or without regard for the rules. If someone ignores established rules and regulations, they run roughshod over the law. You'll nearly always find this word alongside run or ride, riding roughshod or running roughshod, as when a power-hungry politician rides roughshod over anyone who stands in his way of success, as an example. So, all right. So we're going to go through what happened today. It's a very interesting storyline because it has a lot of shades of the NWO storyline in WCW, a violent group that wants to take over the show. So we're going to see how it compares, and we've been covering NWO stuff on this channel as well. So we've seen that recently in our memory bank. So let's see how this went today. Let's go through it. Anybody wants to make comments, you can stop me. Just start talking, and I'll stop and let you talk. I would like to hear any comments you guys have off the cuff, and then I'll give you guys time to speak also afterwards. So here was the match. The match was supposed to be OrangeCassidy and Kyle O'Reilly and Rocky Romero of the conglomeration, and I think they're facing off against the Elite, right? Nick and Matt Jackson and Okada. So these guys tried to have a match, and it didn't go all the way through because basically, well, here's what happened. OrangeCassidy's gearing up for the Orange Punch here on Matt Jackson, but Wheeler Yuta got it into the match and hit the Psycho knee out of nowhere, and that was the end of the match. So it's a no contest or a DQ, however you want to put it. And the old Blackpool Combat Club guys come in and basically start kicking everyone's ass in the middle of the match. So this was a match that's supposed to happen, and they don't care. They're like, fuck this match. Here's Pac choking out Kyle O'Reilly with the briefcase that's holding Moxley's world title belt. Here's the Elite. So this is interesting because they're another heel faction, and they kind of were just they're also in charge. They're also the executive vice presidents of the show, and they don't know what to do about this. But Dante and Top Flight come in, and basically some good guys from the back come in and try to help, the conglomeration. But I think they ended up getting their ass kicked too. And here's the Elite again looking on. Here's Dark Order. So Dark Order's the next team that comes in. And there's Alex Reynolds talking to the Elite saying, hey, what are you doing, man? Like, come on, you're going to let this happen in your company? These guys just ruined an important match. But also the Moxley stable, the old Blackpool Combat Club, or whatever you want to call them, they beat up Dark Order. So here's Moxley choking out Evil Uno. Here's the Elite leaving. They don't really care. They're like, whatever, these bad guys want to do something, go ahead. Here's my favorite scene from the show is Marina Shafir choking out Alex Reynolds. And I'll play some of what Moxley said again, because here he grabs the microphone, and here's what Moxley...
If you are involved in any way, shape, or form with All Elite Wrestling, you are under attack. If you didn't like what happened on Saturday night, if you don't like this, you need to understand. You need to understand this is just the cost of doing business.
All right, well, I want to go back. I want to at least show. I like this spot with the steel steps. I had never seen a spot like this where they hold someone by the ring post and then slam the steps into their belly or whatever. I thought it looked good, and Alex Reynolds took it well. So, all right, let me go through the rest of the angle real quick. So there's the conglomeration, and everybody just wiped out in the ring. And I think the last guys who came in are Private Party and Daniel Garcia. So Top Flight had come in before, and Dark Order. So at the end, Daniel Garcia and Private Party, and I think the Blackpool Combat Club scatter. Here's the Elite in the back, and some of the baby faces go to... This is Alicia, by the way. She's a new character. She's MJF's girlfriend. I don't know if you guys knew that.
Okay.
But yeah, so she caught up with the Elite, wanted to ask him about it, and then Daniel Garcia and Private Party show up to yell at the Elite, kind of basically scold them and say, hey, we've worked this hard to build this company, and you're just going to let it all come crashing down and let these guys take it from you, right? Here's Daniel Garcia getting in Jack Perry's face, and testy moment, but the Elite, they don't want to get involved. So anyway, so later on in the show, they're at the announce desk talking about it, and they cut to the back because something's happening. There's a fight, and it's the same people. It's Moxley's crew, and it's Top Flight, and it's Dark Order, and they're brawling in the back. And another one of my favorite images, a Marina Shafir with the thighs of steel, choking out Darius Martin from Top Flight.
In what scenario would she be able to get him in that position? Like in a fight? I mean, unless he was willingly, which we've discussed. That's not a terrible situation to be in. I agree. But at the same time, there's no way if it was an actual fight. I mean, okay, she could be a badass. I'm not saying she can't beat up Dante Martin or whichever Martin brother that is. I forgot his name. Doesn't matter.
That's Darius.
That's yes. Darius, great. I'm not saying she can't beat him up. I'm saying she probably can. But I'm saying the move itself, where she's hanging on the thing, choking him out with her thighs, is impossible. Like, that's never going to happen in a real fight.
She obviously saw him walking by and went through that thing, whatever it is, with her legs.
And grabbed his head
with her thighs. Yes. So here's what's his name, Action Andretti, and he's gonna do a dive on the back in the back onto the big pile of people. He's trying to hit Blackpool Combat Club people, but he hit a bunch of people. Here's Marina Shafir kicking Alex Reynolds in the stomach. I don't know, any violence from Marina Shafir on a guy, to me, it's just, it pops me. It's fucking hilarious.
But she could beat up most of the guys there, that I believe.
So anyways, this was a bit of a scuffle, and I think Moxley's crew just kind of retreat to the pickup truck and run away, and John Silver from Dark Order ran after them. He might still be running after them, I don't know. But they didn't show what happened there.
Because he can chase after a car. Anyways.
He tried. So Evil Uno got to cut a promo, Dante Martin got to cut a promo, and Action Andretti, who was also hurt and beat up, he was trying to sell his injuries, and he cut a promo too. And so I think they challenged them to a fight on Collision, which has already happened as of the point we're recording right now. But for the moment, I just want to review this one this angle, all of it on Dynamite. So let's see what you guys gave it as ratings. Let me pull up the Malapert Smark rating system. There it is. For anybody who has not seen it, this is how we review angles or whatever we review. We have a very basic system to review things. But let's see what Vlad thought. So Vlad gave it a thumbs down. All right. So Vlad's on. He didn't like this. And me and Robert are on a thumbs up, so we liked it. There are higher ratings than liked it. There's, loved it and blew my mind and things like that, but I left it under liked it. I have my issues with it, which I will get to, but since Vlad was the most prominent person who kind of gave it a rating that was not good, I want Vlad's thoughts. So Vlad, I'm going to give you 90 seconds on the clock. You can talk more than that if you need to, or you don't need to use it all, whatever. But the floor is yours. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, look, I don't like John Moxley. First of all, his promos make no sense. This whole angle makes no sense. Why he's pissed off makes no sense. What he wants makes no sense. Nothing about it. But then, okay, so he's attacking, whatever. The people that he's attacking are literally people that nobody cares about, okay? Top Flight, Dark Order.
Conglomeration. It was a match between Conglomeration and Elite. Elite bailed out. Or they would have beat up the Elite too, probably.
Conglomeration. The Conglomeration is what? Orange-Cassidy, Fletcher,
Briscoe.
And God, I feel ashamed now. I feel ashamed that I know that. Okay, that's terrible. But anyway,
word of the day: ashamed.
Ashamed, yeah. I'm ashamed that I saw this. No, I'm just. I mean, look, I'm not a fan of this. I don't understand it. They're working with people that nobody cares about. Like, you can't even compare this to the NWO. You can't even compare this to Aces and Eights. Like, you can compare this to anything. This is just a nonsensical thing that they've come up with that makes no sense. Like, these guys were in the company. They're acting like they were outsiders, and then they came in. All of these guys are in the company and been here since the beginning. Moxley pretty much since the beginning, almost. And all these other guys, I mean, Pac is not, I mean, he's been off and on. He's usually gone. He'll probably be gone in 3 months, again for another year. But anyways, the point is, what is the point of this? Like, what sense does it make? okay. I mean, the only payoff it's going to be is if Shane McMahon is the one that's pulling the strings. But other than that, this thing has no legs and hardly any interest because also the people that they're working with. And I'll leave it at that. I don't want to carry on too much.
All right. Well, Robert, I'm gonna switch it to you. You gave it a thumbs up, so let's hear whatever you have to say.
I mean, I dig it. I like the sense of chaos I feel whenever, whatever this new group is called. Why not call them the New Paradigm? Why not? I'll just say the New Paradigm. Yeah, sure. I will go with it. Whenever the New Paradigm is on screen, there's this element of chaos that's involved. John Moxley's promo at the beginning feels like a worked shoot to me. I don't know if you guys agree.
I do.
Okay. So
I feel like there's some elements in there.
Yeah, I feel like he means a lot of the stuff that he says. He could probably say a bit more. I don't know. I kind of dig the fact that he's vague, at least for now. There's plenty of time for him to explain later, but I dig it so far. And then regarding the NWO comparisons, well, I to some extent it makes sense because of the whole hostile takeover thing, but the NWO is not the only group that's ever tried that. I'm trying to think of another angle that I can compare it to besides NWO, because the NWO angle was a whole different beast, and it's not something that could be replicated today or ever, honestly, because if you think about it, at that time, the mid '90s, I think, has anyone even heard of the internet at that point? I don't know. Information got around a lot slower than it does today. The things that we found out months later, today we can find out in a few seconds, right? So when the outsiders showed up to WCW, it really surprised everybody at that time, right? The audience didn't know what was going on. Back then, nobody really knew about people's contract statuses and stuff like that. So it was a legitimate shock, and people weren't sure what to make of it, right? That is not something you could replicate today. It's impossible.
Yeah.
So
sure. I agree with that.
So I don't know. I'm trying to think of another, because we were mentioning NWO. I'm trying to think of another angle that's more appropriate to compare it to. I can't think of one right now, but it still makes some sense due to the fact that they're causing chaos, interrupting matches like the NWO did. Hell, they're even turning on other heels.
I mean, there's like there was Nexus, there was the Shield when they first came.
Yeah,
in.
okay. The Nexus, I guess, is another one. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah.
Well, the reason sorry, you go ahead.
Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, even with the Nexus, they were working with top guys right off the bat.
True.
And really, the Shield was too. Pretty much right off the bat, they attacked. I think their first time was they attacked right. They attacked Ryback, or they attacked CM Punk. I forgot who they attacked when they debuted. Yeah. But it is. I mean, the point is, I mean, I know it's a different company, different world, whatever have you. But I don't know. I'm just the fact that. I mean, okay, if somebody gets over from this thing, like some new talent, okay, fine. But it's hard for me to see that. It's just hard for me to envision that this angle is going to get anyone over. But we'll see. I mean, it's early, but I guess I'm not digging it. I'll be honest. I'm not. All right.
Well, let me give some comments. My turn. Usually I feature you guys, but I got a lot to say about this one. So the reason I gave the NWO comparison directly is because Moxley says, we're quote unquote taking over. This is my company now. That's, no one's, you mentioned a lot of stables, but none of them really said, hey, we're fucking taking over the whole show. A lot of them cause chaos, like you said, but there's a point to be made about saying, he's like, you work for me now. Okay. That's important. Okay. So let me just say that some of the things that I like, there's some aspects of these scenes that I like. The Marina Shafir stuff I liked. And you're right, Robert. The surprise and everything, of course, we can't get that like the old days. But I think there could be a storyline of a stable that wants to take over the show and have it make a little more sense than it did today. So I'll give you some reasons why it didn't really work for me that well here. I still gave it a thumbs up, but I could have gave it 2 thumbs up. I could have liked it a lot more. So right afterwards, there was a match. I think it was Leo Rush, I think, was fighting against Shelton, and was Layla Gray came out as the valet. And literally immediately after this chaos that happened, where this match didn't come off, and there's this vicious stable that's going roughshod, and they could come back at any point. And she comes out and she's strutting out and doing her own act. Like there is no like sense of, oh my God, are people coming for me? And then later on in the night, there was another heel stable too, Don Callis' stable, who looked like a pretty solid, strong stable. But if it was NWO times, there's no heel stable that would come out and act comfortable in the middle of the ring, and commentators should be talking about it. Can something happen? Can something come out of nowhere? Are these guys going to come at any minute? We don't know. That's what would have like really made this an A storyline to me. So there's things like that, but it's hard with AEW because they don't have like a coherent show. They let everyone have their own segments, and so it's hard to let one stable really, really take over a show and run roughshod like that. So I don't really see that happening. But this is kind of the best we can get, I guess. So, and then a couple other small notes. Something you mentioned, Vlad, about that they're feuding with underneath talent at the moment. I don't really mind that at the moment because it's just the beginning. We'll see what happens. But there was that storyline about Darby Allin was not there. Supposedly he was too depressed about the way Danielson's career ended or something, and he can't bring himself to come to the show. So I marked that as a separate angle in our review on our YouTube post, and I gave that a thumbs down because if he had a legitimate reason to not be there, okay, but he should be there. I mean, come on, like he doesn't have a reason not to be there. He should be angry and he should be wanting to be in on this battle. So that's one thing. And so that's about it. I mean, I did mention the continuity with the rest of the show. There was no like fear that it could happen again or something like that. And I think that would have really helped it. So that's all I got to say about it.
Well, I think the reason that you can't really take it too serious is another reason that you kind of mentioned, but you didn't. Is like it's a common thing in AEW. Like people get attacked all the time. Like but this isn't special. Like this isn't something new. Like
that's true.
People get attacked in the back.
Good point.
So it's like, okay, yeah, good sure, point. They're attacking them in the ring, and they're many different groups have done that.
That's an excellent point. The universe of AEW was not set up well for an angle or a program like this. Excuse me. They could have, like Cornette says, you could do a hard reset, and they could have just started the company over and just done like almost nothing for maybe a month. Just do matches, make it look like a normal company, and then come with a team like this that's gonna really take over. So yes, it could have been set up better. You're right. The fact that there's all kinds of chaos in AEW kind of makes people like numb to this. So
yeah, who cares? That's what people say, at least, and that's what I'm saying. So
all right. Well, let's move along. I mean, it is Sunday night as we speak, by the way, and I have watched everything for 1 week. The last week, I literally watched everything there is to watch. I watched Rampage, I watched Collision, and there was even Battle of the Belts. So, and this angle was. Did you guys watch any of that or no?
I really just flew by all the 3 hours of those.
No, I mean this angle was prevalent though. This angle continued on there. I mean, I could give you a quick summary if you guys want to know what happened on Collision and Battle of the Belts. So you guys are ready for Wednesday when we hit this angle again. But Moxley was there on Collision. Did you know this, Robert?
Mm-hmm.
Well, there was supposed to be a trios tag team title match between these Blackpool Combat Club guys and against who did they face off against? Oh, Top Flight. Okay, yeah. So Top Flight challenged them on Dynamite, and they had the match. And it was just a strong victory for the Blackpool Combat Club. They won, and then they were gonna kick Top Flight's ass again afterwards. So they just went off on a post-match beatdown. Here's Pac looking happy doing it. Moxley comes in, And they beat him down as the show ends, and this went into Battle of the Belts. So literally the show ended like this, and then when Battle of the Belts started up, the next show, it continued on. So here's Moxley beating up one of the guys from Top Flight, and I think John Silver came out. Again, continuation of Dark Order and Conglomeration against BCC. So John Silver whacks Claudio with a chair, and they start kicking Dark Order's ass. And then what Moxley did was very interesting. He grabbed the microphone, and he basically said, we're going to have another trios title defense right now against Dark Order. They're that badass. So they rang the bell. So Moxley, I guess he is in charge, right? He's like, he made this match, and then a trios title match started up right there. And against Dark Order. Same guys. So they beat them too. So here's the end of that. I think Alex Reynolds had to tap out to like a double submission. I don't know why that was legal, but I wasn't really paying attention to that. But okay.
You know what? Nobody was either. Don't worry.
After the match, here's John Moxley. I think he's torturing Evil Uno. Slaps him or Evil Uno tries to slap him in the face, but they're gonna smash John Silver's hand, I think, or Marina Shafir smashes John Silver's hand with a briefcase.
No, I think who actually is getting tortured is anyone that watched this. That's who got tortured. I think
that was me.
That was you. That was you.
I took notes on it. Well, anyways, last thing. Private Party and Daniel Garcia finally come out after all this, after 2 matches, and they were talking very prevalently about it on Collision. And, this makes me think that if this was a coherent storyline, that these guys might be in on it with Moxley's crew, because they're always coming in like when it's too late, But they do fight with them, so I just think that's kind of poor writing. And then another thing that happened is Orange Cassidy had this dramatic moment in the back where he was kind of doubting whether he wanted to be part of this battle. He's like, I'm not a leader. And then he ends up walking away here.
Well, that's a fact. That's
very dramatic.
You got that right. This is not a guy, for sure that's not a guy that you want to lead. That's 100%.
Well, anyways, all right. So we're like half an hour into the show. All right, we've done only AEW. But it's okay. We did it very in depth. That was a very in-depth analysis. I like it.
It sure was.
Good job. All right, look.
More than it deserved.